From RF-SMART, this is Taking Inventory, a podcast all about better controlling your supply chain and improving inventory management. Now your host, Abby Bennett.
Welcome back to Taking Inventory with RF-SMART. I am your host for today, Abby Bennett. We are doing a bit of a departure from our normal content. Today, we are featuring the employee stories of two teammates here at RF-SMART to not only highlight some of our values internally, but to give our listeners some ideas on how they can empower their employees and promote a positive work environment. Today, joining us is Jodi Nuszkowski and Haleigh Thomas. So Jodi and Haleigh, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks. Glad to be here. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Well, before we jump into their RF-SMART stories, I just wanted to share a little bit about my RF-SMART journey. I, like many of our over 300 teammates, was a referral by a current employee, Sarah Archer, host of Taking Inventory that you all know and love, recommended I apply, and I've been able to take advantage of what we call our Career Rockwall here at RF-SMART, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a few moments. I worked on both the sales side as a partner manager and now as a content marketing specialist for the marketing team in the about year and a half since I've been at this company. With that background, I really want to jump in and hear and share with our audience both of your RF-SMART stories. So Haleigh, start us off by sharing what brought you to RF-SMART and what your current role is on the team.
Yeah. Previously, I worked in enterprise security sales, and I was looking to move into field sales and also find something I could work remotely. And back in 2016, this was a bit more novel. I had just had a new baby, and I wanted something to stretch my skill set, but also accommodate my young family. And a friend of mine was contacted by RF-SMART, and she sent me the link. I applied and pursued the position and thankfully got it. My current role is regional sales executive for our Oracle Cloud practice, and I cover about 11 states in the southern U.S.
Haleigh, that's awesome. I'm excited to hear more about your story in a moment. Jodi, can you share how you landed at RF-SMART in your current position?
Yes, I currently serve as the director of the business development team. So I lead the team that works with prospects and get them qualified, sent over to our sales team so that they can become customers of RF-SMART. And I'm actually celebrating 10 years at RF-SMART this month. I was probably preparing for my marketing admin role interview at this very moment 10 years ago. Exactly. And I always say that I got really lucky when I found RF-SMART. I found them through my own devices, my own searching. And I really did not know then exactly what I was signing up for. And I've just been wildly impressed every day since. The timing of it really was just so perfect. I found them in a time in my life when I was just desperate for structure with a company who would support my ambitious career goals. I was a single mom at the time and really just needed to show the world what I was made of. And I just hadn't found that opportunity until I found RF-SMART.
That's fantastic. Well, congratulations. We're happy that you've been here for a decade now. That's very impressive and certainly not a unique story at RF-SMART. But one through line, I think, from both of your RF-SMART experiences is that you both actually started on different teams when you were first hired at RF-SMART. I want to dive in a little bit to this idea of what we call a career rock wall that made these professional moves possible. Jodi, as a manager who has seen your own teammates utilize this process, can you share what the career rock wall is at RF-SMART?
Sure. So imagine, if you will, what a rock wall looks like. You can go up, you can go to the right, you can go to the left. I've experienced the rock wall journey here at RF-SMART, not only as the climber, but as the instructor. 10 years ago, I started as a marketing admin and then moved over into a sales role. I was on that team for about 5 years before taking a leadership role on the business development team where I've been at for about 3 years. But now I get to serve as that instructor role to empower my team to be ridiculously in charge of their career. I'm here to support them and guide them as they navigate their climb. In my experience in business development, we have career conversations early and often to decide what that track looks like. Do they want to go up? If so, what's that next step look like? Do they need to go over? Is that a better fit for them? We're talking about that often, and we even have a program in place to support them in continuing their sales career at RF-SMART. It's called the Sales Development Program. Typically in business development, we work with individuals who are just starting their sales career or just starting their sales career in software. And oftentimes they are eager to continue on with their sales goals, with their career. And so this sales development program really enables them to do that in their current existing role. And we can pour into them the skills that they will need to be able to take that next step into sales at RF-SMART. But sometimes sales isn't always the end destination. And again, think about what that rock wall looks like. I've also worked with other team members to help identify that different path that also still supports them, their strengths, while also looking at what the overall RF Smart goal is.
Absolutely. And it's really all about, like you said, empowering teammates to look at their futures and see what they may be interested in shadowing, places they may be interested in gaining more in education. It's really great to hear your perspective on that. Haleigh, I'm curious, can you tell me a little bit about what that internal transition between roles looks like for you?
Yeah, moving positions internally can often feel uncomfortable or create apprehension. But due to the culture of our Smart inviting employees to own their career path, encouraging those Rockwall moves, I did feel empowered to pursue a new role. Previously, I worked in the strategic account space in our RF-SMART for NetSuite practice. I was there for 5 years, kind of rose up the ranks, and I was just craving a new challenge. I loved working with our customers. It was a very bittersweet decision. As you can imagine, over 5 years, I developed really great relationships, which that's kind of what that role is about. But I approached my immediate manager and my VP, and everybody was extremely supportive. We collaborated to ensure a 3-month transition that was best for our smart and our customers, but also gave me the option to ramp up, give me time to get my feet wet and adjust to the new role. Overall, it was very positive.
That's great background, Haleigh. And I know that's a very similar story to many other teammates who have utilized this Career Rockwall program. Jodi, you have a bit of a different story because you moved from, two individual contributor roles to a management position. So I'd like to hear what was your motivation for that move and what did that look like?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, I was in an outside sales position at RF Smart for about 5 years. And at that time, I had just had my youngest son. And so I was really just entering a different season of life. And since I had another baby at home, I was feeling a lot of anxiety around traveling, which my role required me to do. Seeing my customers was one of my favorite parts about the job. You can imagine the turmoil that I felt when I was trying to work to achieve that work life harmony. I felt stuck because I liked my job, I liked my team, I liked my manager, but I really just needed to listen to that inner voice. And I'm so glad that I did. Through my dealings with that turmoil, I was really close with the marketing director at that time. And one afternoon, I was just sharing what was on my heart. And from that conversation, she said, I think I may have something for you on my team. And within a few months, I had moved over into my leadership role on the business development team. That's where I've been ever since. And I've been leading that team for just over 3 years now. And I can confidently say that I'm exactly where I need to be. And every other role that I had, whether it was here at RF Smart or before RF Smart, it's led me and prepared me for the role that I'm in now.
That's such an encouraging story and so powerful to hear what can happen when you take your skills and your passions and you put them in the right place. You're able to have a greater impact. Both of your stories kind of bring up another point that I think you could each share some valuable insights on. You're both working parents, so you have professional and personal workloads and responsibilities, but you're also very high achieving in those responsibilities. How has RF Smart helped you strive for that greater work life balance? Jodi, we'll start with you.
Yeah, honestly, I think just saying the words make the difference. Working at a company that acknowledges the importance of a balanced life and follows through on that with the commitment to ensure that it's happening, that's essential. That's what makes the difference. And it really starts with the leaders. Hearing that your CEO is on a well deserved vacation with his family and is totally unplugged, that really sets the tone for everyone. And it gives everyone permission and encouragement to do exactly the same. So we don't just talk about it because we know it's important. We actually follow through, and the leaders are held accountable to practice exactly what they preach.
Absolutely. It's great to hear that that's been your experience at RF Smart. And I think it's worth noting too that we're able to accommodate this employee work life balance without sacrificing the user experience of our customers. So they still have the support they need to run with our product and find success. Haleigh, what's been your experience handling these responsibilities? I mean, particularly as a remote worker like myself, you're not located near a physical RF Smart office. So tell me about some ways you've leveraged RF Smart's policies to help manage your time.
So I had my second son in 2019, and I was grateful to be able to take 3 months off. When I came back, it was our annual sales kickoff in January. So it was my first day back from maternity leave. I was obviously unable to leave my 3-month-old son at home. So they were gracious enough to allow me to bring Henry with me and very accommodating, allowing me to be flexible in the sessions, to leave to nurse him, but also participate in sales kickoff and not have to leave him at home. And as far as being remote, it really is an incredible blessing. As the primary caregiver of my children, I'm able to do school drop offs and pickups and attend field trips over lunch and really feel that freedom to handle emergencies like doctor's appointments or children being sick. There are things that come up, and they really remove that apprehension by saying, look, if you've got a sick kid home, how can I help you? How can I cover your meeting? Do you need to move some things around? And so I think, like to Jodi's earlier point, seeing our leadership embody those values really encourages the employees to do the same.
Fantastic point, Haleigh, and goes along with the variety of benefits offered from RF Smart, like full paid maternity leave or our hybrid work schedule. Just being able to meet employees where they're at in their journey in their career. Following up from that, as both of your skill sets and responsibilities grew in these roles, you both really scaled in terms of leadership on your respective teams. Part of this leadership is shown in your involvement with the RF Smart Women's Development Program, and that spans across our entire organization. Haleigh, can you share a little bit about what women's development at RF Smart is all about?
Yeah. Holly Anderson is our AVP of marketing, and she had the vision to create a women's development program at RF-SMART. Essentially, we want our women to know and own their own influence, empower them to expand their impact, foster tangible skills to improve confidence, and make it accessible across all departments, and really to build a community and a safe place to garner support. And one of the most impactful parts, I think, is just getting people from all over the company together, discussing career journeys. We might not have been able to meet or interact if it wasn't for these types of calls.
As an individual, I benefited from these conversations, and I know many others have as well. Being able to get people from all over the company together, was this kind of connectivity a real driving factor for creating these interactive settings?
Yes, I would say so. And that's been something that the women overall have had positive reviews on. That's one of their favorite parts, is getting to meet other women across the world, globally, that might not have had the chance to interact just based on departmental responsibilities.
That's fantastic. And I think it's really important to be having these conversations. I've certainly really enjoyed being a part of them. For our listeners who may not have a program like this in their workplace, tell a little bit about what this program has done in the past and maybe some things that we have on the horizon for the future.
Being a part of the committee, we wanted to really be intentional about the plan as we were building the 2023 agenda for the full women of RF Smart. When we look back at what made the program so successful in past years, we kept hearing feedback around community and getting women talking with other women. As Haleigh mentioned, it opens up the door to different women in other departments working with other women. And so we certainly wanted to foster that. We recently had our first coffee chat of the year, kicking things off, where we really dove into a topic that everybody's feeling, and we get them all in one space to talk about it, to learn some skills to overcome what that is, because we recognize we're dealing with this as a community, and as a community, we can also work together to get through it.
Absolutely, Jodi. And it's certainly been a process that I think has worked for the Women's Development Program. Haleigh, what are some of the topics that we have covered in the past and some things we're looking forward to covering in the future?
Yeah, last year we covered confidence and imposter syndrome. And so some of the takeaways we got from that are women started making a list of their accomplishments, no matter how small or big, to celebrate those wins. They learned how to speak up more. And then other women started supporting other women who were speaking up in meetings. One of the more important ones was boundaries and work life balance. As women, we tend to take on a lot, we say yes to a lot, we carry a vast mental load, which inhibits us from being effective in so many other areas or leaning into our strengths. So we really talked about prioritizing mental health and how to set boundaries to create a better work life harmony and what that looks like practically at home and at work. And through that, we were able to break out, have that community that Jodi mentioned, and really get vulnerable and get real. And that's what our goal is, to create that safe space where real change can happen by hearing each other's stories. This year, our topic is expanding your impact. So it's really rolling into the topics we had last year, on the boundaries and mental load. So this year, we're focused on keeping those practices intact so that we can expand our impact. The way that we're doing that this year is we have 3 coffee chat events led by different leadership members on our team. And they're digging into our learning management system track that the women are doing collectively. And so those things are on confidence, learning tangible skills on how to further your career, things of that nature. We also added in something new this year called learning groups. So the learning groups are intended to be very small, 5 women tops. It's the same group of women meeting every quarter throughout the year. And we're hoping that allows us to go deep. And I think that real change and accountability happens when we choose and are brave enough to be vulnerable. Small things, but I think that they have a larger impact long term down the road.
That's very exciting, and I'm certainly looking forward to being a part of those discussions. To end today, I wanted to talk about our mission at RF-SMART. And for those of you who are regular listeners of Taking Inventory, you're probably familiar, but at RF-SMART, our core mission is to transform our customers and change lives. And this extends not only outwardly to our customer base, but inwardly to our staff. So I have one last question for both of you. In what ways has your life been changed working with RF-SMART?
I can confidently say that I am the best version of myself because of RF Smart. And I promise you, they did not ask me to say this. Before RF Smart, I knew that I would find my way eventually. I was very goal oriented, but I wasn't quite ready for the kind of impact that this company would have. Through my 10 years of working here, I've been challenged and poured into by some of the best leaders in the business. And I'm thankful for the strong leaders that I've had along the way. They saw something in me that I may have not been able to see myself, and they saw my potential. And now I'm truly humbled to be able to attempt to do the same with my own team. It has absolutely changed my life.
Well, Jodi, I can confidently say you've made good with that attempt. You certainly changed the lives of your team members as well. So it's wonderful to hear that you are giving back after so many years of being poured into. Haleigh, I'd like to hear your perspective. How has working at RF-SMART changed your life?
Yeah. So for me, I feel like I've grown a lot as a sales professional just being here at our Smart. They've encouraged me to master my craft. And certainly that's an ongoing thing. Just surrounded by so many talented people, it's hard not to constantly be sharpened. There's just an immense pool of talent we're surrounded by. And to Jodi's point, our leadership team is constantly evolving and improving themselves, which trickles down to encouraging us to constantly evolve and improve in our role. And on a personal aspect, some of my coworkers have become our dearest friends. They really encouraged me when I lost my mom to cancer my first year here. I was allowed to work closely to help take care of her. I was away from my home office. They encouraged me to go to grief counseling and offered to pay for it. And then finally, my life truly is forever changed by the man that hired me and brought me into our Smart in the first place. His name was Jeremy Thomas. And unfortunately, in 2020, he passed away from a very rare type of brain cancer. He will always be my mentor. And without him, I wouldn't be here at all. His impact is truly still going strong at our Smart. And he taught us all to choose joy, no matter the circumstance. So when things get tough and hard, I can't not think about that mantra. And for that, I'm so thankful.
Haleigh, that was a very wonderful answer to a pretty complex question, and I really appreciate you sharing that. And for those of you who don't know, Jeremy Thomas was actually on the very first episode of Taking Inventory, so certainly we'll put that into the description for you to go back and listen. His legacy has definitely lived on at RF-SMART, and it's been wonderful to see both of you create a legacy for yourselves here as well. One of our values here is ever expanding impact, and we've seen that. I just want to thank you both again. I so appreciate you taking the time to share your journeys with us, and so excited to see what's to come for both of you and see the impact that you're going to have on the greater team and the amazing things you're going to bring to both our company and our customers. For those of you listening who would like to learn more about career opportunities at RF-SMART, please visit our website, rfsmart.com/careers, and we'd be happy to connect with you on any open roles. As always, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Google, and Spotify, as well as on our website at rfsmart.com/podcasts, where you can sign up for our email reminders. Thank you again for joining us today, and we hope to connect again on the next one. Thanks for listening.